Right now, millions of people are spending hours of their life doom scrolling, wondering why they're depressed. We've traded having an interesting life to vicariously watching others cosplaying an interesting life. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the life-changing art of having hobbies, my own journey of hobbymaxxing, and the joy of being aggressively amateur at new things. In the wake of a society that has become increasingly dependent on the digital world, sanitized by AI algorithms, and the rampant loneliness epidemic happening amongst young people. Here's a timestamp if you want to skip the deep dive and go straight to beginner-friendly hobbies that I believe will spark joy and help you live a more compelling life offline. Before smartphones, boredom was the idle time that created the conditions for hobbies to emerge organically. You could become interested in something without immediately turning it into online content, a side hustle, or a personal brand. As we move towards a K-shaped economy, which just means that the rich are getting richer and the working class are getting poorer, causing the middle class to disappear, forcing idle time into side hustles to supplement stagnant incomes in an economy that's only getting more expensive, monetizing the time that used to be for fun and rest. Real-world hobbies are important because they give us built-in community, particularly around finding your place and your tribe as a young adult. They were a natural byproduct of societal living, but have quietly eroded in the digital age, where everything is online and optimized for visual aesthetic. In childhood and adolescence, relationships are largely passive and a byproduct of proximity. If you think about work, school, neighbors, places of worship, extracurricular activities, but there's multiple problems with all of those environments in a digital age. You can do all of those things online now. You can work from home, you can do school and college online. Because of this, proximity-based relationships have become less accessible, and the opportunity to be in new environments with new people become few and few. In the UK, 1 in 4 adults says they feel lonely often or some of the time, while that number is almost double in the United States at 54%, stating lack of companionship and emotional isolation as causes. One of the ways I believe we can move towards a more connected society and away from a lonely one is, you guessed it, hobbies. The further away you get from high school, the more intentional you have to become about making relationships. At the start of the year, my screen time was up to 14 hours a day. Which I know sounds insane, but you also have to add in the fact that I'm a journalist, so I spend a lot of time online looking up news and researching stories. Even with that in mind, there is no reason why I should have been spending that amount of time on my phone. So I decided to delete my personal Instagram in March, and I haven't looked back. I planted myself in new environments with new people and forced myself into the uncomfortable feeling of being a bad beginner. And honestly, it's genuinely been the best summer of my life. So you might be wondering, what are these hobbies that I ventured into? I've compiled a list of entry-level IRL hobbies that won't burn out your social battery if you're an introvert or a beginner. Let's start off with the intellectually stimulating ones for people who want to get smarter. Think of museums, book clubs, chess, mahjong, backgammon. These are great environments for something that I will call companionable silence. You can play chess in complete silence. It's all about the game, and it forces you to become analytical, think critically, problem solve, and understand your opponent. I once read an incredible book that I highly recommend for thinkers called The Midnight Library. It's about a girl who's incredibly depressed about her life, and she goes into a dream state and meets a librarian who explains to her that life is like a game of chess, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Anything that involves intellectually stimulating activities, they allow for you to be in companionable silence. The focus is engaging with the activity or sharing your learnings rather than speaking about yourself, which is really great if you're someone who's a bit more introverted. These are the type of activities that say we don't have to fill every single moment of space and silence between us. As someone who struggles with a low social battery, this was a perfect activity for me. I learned new things, got to spend time with a new person without the pressure to constantly talk. This one is for the sporty people who want to get out of their minds and into their bodies. I particularly want to focus on vigorous physical activity. Think commercial dancing, run clubs, hiking groups, stargazing, where the focus is on the journey rather than the destination. You're fully in your body and experiencing the pain, the struggle, the determination it takes to complete the activity. Why I love these hobbies is because they allow for something that I will call parallel play or socializing. You're in a group environment and you're not forced to talk. The focus is the activity. And even if you do want to talk, you can use the activity as an icebreaker. Oh, is it your first time here? How many times have you come here? Do you have any tips for a beginner? Easy icebreakers. Also, all the cute people are at the run club. So if you're single, then that is the place to go. I'm planning on doing a video on modern dating culture and why I think it's so bad at the moment. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see that video and like this one if you're enjoying it. What I love about physical hobbies is you're committing to your full 5 senses. When you're on a hike and you see the beautiful sceneries, when you're dancing and you can feel the blood pumping through your veins, it's that adrenaline rush that you get from the activity. If you want to bring the pace down, let's talk about skill-based hobbies, cooking classes, pottery making, baking even. But the caveat is you must do them in a group activity. For example, I went to a pasta making class for my birthday and it was so much fun. It was a group activity. It's also a nice addition that there's other people who are also amateurs doing the thing badly while you're all having a good time. And at the end of it, you get to eat a delicious meal and you've learned a skill that you can actually take into your real life. But pottery painting was really fun. But the great thing about the arts and learning an art-based skill is you might discover a new gifting that you have within yourself. I think this is my favorite category. I'm going to dub this humorous hobbies for people who want to completely jump in the deep end out of their comfort zone, becoming funnier and wittier in conversation. Think about improv classes, comedy clubs if you want to watch other people do it, or comedy classes if you want to learn how to become funnier. These are all activities that will force you to become a better public speaker. I genuinely would love to do a stand-up comedy class because in my head, I don't necessarily think I'm the funniest person or I have funny stories, but I guess that's the beauty of it, is that I'm forcing myself to think in a new way and express myself in a new way. Also, meeting other people who are probably going to be either introverts who are trying to push themselves or likely extroverts. I'm someone who is completely fascinated by extroverted people because I don't necessarily see myself as an extroverted person. Even acting classes, I feel that it's an opportunity to experience what it's like having an alter ego. I always wonder, how do people cry on cue or get angry at the moment of a shutter clicking? I believe it's one of those hobbies that forces you to tap into a different version and dimension of yourself. And the next one is for the music heads who just want to vibe out to their favorite tunes or learn about new genres. Think about speakeasies or listening clubs, your local record stores. Right now, we're in a boom of physical media like CD players, vinyls, and record stores seeing record high returns in popularity. Vinyls reaching $1 billion in revenue for the first time since 1983. So activities around music are going to become more and more prevalent. And what I love about these hobbies that I've mentioned is that they don't have to be concerts or festivals. They can be more relaxed and chilled out environments where, again, you can talk, you can learn something new, you can go to a vinyl store on an evening where they're doing a listening night and say, hey, have you bought a vinyl before? I've never bought a vinyl. That's probably the entry conversation that someone like me would use. It allows you to connect with people who love the things that you love. You may not know anyone else who cares or likes vinyls or owns a record player. Sometimes these events even do poetry nights, open mics, so that you can bring your art and your spoken word other people who will appreciate it to the same level. I personally would love to do an open mic night or a poetry slam just to challenge myself to share my art in a new way. But also, if you're not someone who wants to get up on the stage, you can also just go and listen to what other people have to say and walk away having learned a new perspective and seeing the world through someone else's eyes. One caveat I will give to every single hobby that I've listed is that you have to look for these things in your city. They won't just pop up organically. You have to use websites like Eventbrite or Dice for music events to be able to find what's happening in your city. You have to be proactive about bringing these things into your life. All of the museums that I've been to, the dance classes that I've attended, the music events that I've gone to, the comedy clubs that I've been to, I had to seek these things out. Even just a simple Google, comedy clubs near me, improv classes near me, cooking classes near me, they will all pop up on Google. It's simple, but it still requires a level of effort that most people who say they're bored or don't have anything interesting happening in their life aren't actively doing. What I love about these hobbies is that they allow you to engage in what I will call the art of dilly-dallying. There's no pressure to become an expert. You're doing this purely for the love of the game. I try new activities all the time as a beginner. I remember when I went pole dancing, oh my goodness, I was awful at it. Honestly, when I look back at the videos, I'm like, girl, what are you doing? But guess what? I had so much fun, and I spoke to other girls who were also there, and it was just a really nice community of people who were cheering me on while I was doing an absolutely abysmal job of pole dancing. For me personally, too much sameness is genuinely maddening. I start to feel like I'm losing a grip of my own life. You wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep. You do that rinse and repeat for 5 days, and then you have nothing to look forward to on the weekend. I personally cannot live that way, and I don't think you should either. That's another reason why I've gained a renewed interest in physical media and bought myself a CD player. I love going on silly little hot girl walks with my CD player in hand, phone left at home, God knows how many notifications it's got on it. I'm just enjoying the moment, enjoying nature, listening to my favorite songs without being attached to a screen. I made a whole video about friction maxing and the little inconveniences we can bring back into our world to bring delight and joy. I also want to touch on what I will call sober settings. For most of my adulthood, I've fallen into the trap of socializing around drinking and alcohol, and I believe that is partially because of being in the UK and living in London. The UK is a very boozy country. If you tell people in the UK that you don't drink, it becomes an interrogation of people asking you why you don't drink. Are you an alcoholic? They look at you like you're a little bit crazy. But what I've found is that the connections that I've made in environments centered around drinking, they're very shallow. You don't make lasting connections or meet high quality people in environments that are centered around drinking. I'm at a place in my life where I want to meet people who make me more intelligent, get me into new sports, and I can actually have a rich experience with. And I'm not going to find that at my local club, pub, or bar. There's nothing wrong with drinking in moderation, but I personally don't believe that every social event should be centered around alcohol. And I also feel that you're not enriching yourself or contributing to your own mental or physical well-being. Life becomes very bleak and flat without having new things to look forward to every week, month, or year. My best friend and I call them nuggets to look forward to. At the start of each new month, I open my calendar and look at all of my free time. I write a list of all of the hobbies that I want to try that month and start mapping them out and booking them. I also make sure that throughout the year, I dot in festivals, concerts, and vacations. It gives me things to stay excited about in the future. In May, I challenged myself to go solo traveling for the first time in 3 years, and I went to Albania and Corsica in France. Then I began dance classes. I went to a track meet and did outdoor sports. A rich life isn't something you stumble into, it's something you actively schedule. When you strip away doom scrolling, alcohol, and the need to be productive 24/7, all that's left is how you choose to intentionally fill your time. Stop waiting for community to magically appear on your doorstep, because it's not going to. Join a weird club like me, going to improv classes or stand-up comedy lessons. Be bad at something new, like when I went pole dancing and made a fool of myself. Go to that event alone. I guarantee you, someone will probably come and talk to you because they're alone as well. Or you can challenge yourself to stretch your social skills and break the ice with someone and potentially make a new connection. I promise you, people aren't as scary as they seem. At the end of the day, a life filled with nuggets to look forward to isn't just a fun schedule, it's a life well lived. Make sure to leave a comment below of which hobby stood out to you the most, and I will see you in my next video.